Okay, so good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's session of eNishit. Today we are having and running the 64th session. So thank you for your perseverance and your continuation, efforts and presence on this eNishit HIV TB platform. Today, before we proceed on, an expert is joining us soon. I request you all to please, on your screen, you will be seeing the attendance. So please fill out the attendance form. So while we are doing the attendance, I would like to again welcome to the participants who have just joined new. I am Dr. Vandana Dabla from Share India, and I have joined today with my team, Mr. Ajit from Share India, and we have Gaurav from Echo India. I think there are a few people, others also, Gaurav, I can screen on the screen, have joined from Echo India. So thank you. Today we have our expert, Dr. Sandeep Rathore. Dr. Sandeep is the WHO HIV/TB consultant, national consultant at National AIDS Control Organization, NACO. You must be aware of him. I think Dr. Sandeep have been mentoring all the RT centers over HIV and HIV/TB part for long. So thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us today on this platform. And we will be talking and discussing on HIV/TB data management and use of the digital platform for surveillance today. So I think today's session would be a little different. It's quite exciting because it is not only based on clinical case, which we usually have, but on the data management and surveillance part. So let's see, and any questions if you wish to ask, then we can have them at the end of the session. Before we ask Dr. Sandeep to start with his presentation, on your screen, you can see the pre-poll. So these are the two questions which are based on the didactic, on the data management itself. I request you to please read these questions and attempt it. We will be discussing these two questions as our protocol, post the didactic, post the presentation as well.
I'm Ravindra Diwan, the director at NIT RD. I've just joined.
Good afternoon. It's such a pleasure to have you today, sir. Thank you so much for taking out your time, precious time, and joining the session today.
I see that you're well under the way for the pre-test and other things going on, and maybe I have joined a little late, and I hope I have not caused any obstruction in the proceedings of the meeting as such.
No, sir. No, sir.
No, sir. We are yet to start the technical session, and it's pleasure to have you on board.
So today the session is a little different. Our USP is that eNishit HIV/TB session is based on the clinical case, which is given by and provided by the ART centers themselves. Okay. But for long, we have not touched the data part. So today we are having Dr. Sandeep with us, who will be telling on data management and surveillance of HIV/TB, which NACO has just launched with the new software Soch. So that's why we want to take advantage of this platform to inform all the ART centers about that. Ajit, can we go ahead with the presentation?
It's actually 45% of the people are only participated in the pre-test poll.
So we'll be having just another 30 seconds for the pre-poll. I request you all to please attempt these two questions. We will be discussing these, as I said, at the end of the session.
Well, then I think we can proceed.
Thank you, Ajit. So now I request Dr. Sandeep to please, switch on your mic and we can proceed with today's presentation.
Thank you, sir. Very good afternoon to. Can somebody mute? There are multiple echoes. Good afternoon, sir, and good afternoon to all the participants from Share India, from states, from districts, and especially the hardworking, what I should say, that the field warriors who have been struggling days and nights to provide the uninterrupted services despite of COVID-19 pandemic. So this is a great opportunity for you to discuss something which is much different than a discussion on a clinical case, because whatever we do, we provide the services to the public, and we generate a huge amount of data which is valuable. We always say that the data is the gold and it should be kept in a quite precious manner. So the program has evolved over 2 decades, and there is still a phase of expansion that we look forward to. So it's important that we understand the importance of the data, especially the digitalized records, which are going to be the game changer when it comes to the surveillance and day-to-day program management. So HIVTB is a collaborative activity that has been implemented way back since 2001. And there has been enormous changes in terms of recording and reporting. We have revised our reporting formats of HIVTB line list. And even the TB program has moved ahead with the case-based digital surveillance system called Nikshay. So we have a system where we were going with the hard copies, and under the NSCP program in 2002, we switched to the CMIS, and then came the SIMS and the PULSE. And this is again a landmark time when we are thinking about shifting completely to the SOCH, that is strengthening the overall care in the HIV setting. It's an acronym, and all of you should know that SOCH is basically an integrated digital platform for not only for providing the services, but also for understanding that how the epidemic is behaving in our particular geography, and how can we use that valuable information in our program management. We can decide our activities based on that, and we can also provide the quality care to the patients who are coming to us for the care. So will I be sharing the presentation from here, Dr. Vanna, or you will be sharing? I will be comfortable sharing it from here if that's fine.
Okay, then you can present it from your side, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Please confirm, I guess my screen is visible.
It is very much visible.
Yeah, thank you. So this is the India's HIV and TB situation. We know that the TB is one of the most common opportunistic infection, and the program has taken a lot of steps in strengthening not only the HIV testing services and the treatment services, but also there has been coordinated efforts by National TB Elimination Program, as well as by the National AIDS Control Program. So we can see that there has been a significant decrease in the estimated HIV-TB incident cases. We were saying that there are somewhere around 92,000 cases each year, which has now gone down to 71,000. And similarly, if you look at the estimated HIV positive TB mortality, 9,700 were estimated in 2018, and same has come down to 9,500. If you look at the programmatic data in terms of the HIV testing coverage among the TB patient, it is 80% for the 2019 year. And for the INH preventive therapy, we could perform at 45%. So whatever this actually becomes an action point at the national level, that how can we move ahead of what we have achieved so far? How can we reduce the incidence of the incident HIV-TB co-infected cases, as well as reduce the morbidity as well as mortality? Currently, we are not really measuring the morbidity, but as the time will come, we will also go to those kind of parameters that will define that what proportion of the HIV-TB co-infected patients face significant amount of morbidity and out-of-pocket expenditure, because these are the decisions that can again contribute to the policy making and affect the patient's health-seeking behavior. So despite of these two being the vertical programs, there were when this HIV-TB collaborative activity was drafted, the program worked on the different recording and the reporting formats. We had patient visitor register, green book, white card, HIV-TB line list, which was revised again, master line list still being maintained at the ART center, HIV-TB monthly reporting, TB treatment outcome report, and drug and the stock register, as you all must be aware about. Similarly, in 2016, TB program revised their technical and operational guideline, which was again revised last year. And then NTP request form for examination of biological specimen for TB. It's a common form which can be utilized for all the tests that a patient has to undergo, especially for the diagnosis of tuberculosis. The TB treatment card was also modified because program was looking at the other comorbidity like diabetes, tobacco, and alcohol. TB identity card, of course, if the patient has the identity card, they can avail certain benefits and also can be identified for the drug dispensing and other programmatic activities. TB notification register. This was introduced. Referral and transfer form and monthly TB drug report. Now, all these formats are basically dependent on whatever are the activities that we do on ground. If the patient is visiting to me and I am entering the details in a particular format or in the register, the same will act as a base for all the subsequent activities. For example, HIV screening, for example, TB testing, for example, linkage with the treatment, and for example, the counseling and other related services. So the hard copy is definitely going to remain there for some time, but we will discuss this in our subsequent slides. So as I said that the programs started in terms of thinking that how can we increase the output of whatever we are doing? How can we make our system more robust and deliver the better results with the existing manpower by the use of technology? So technology nowadays plays a huge role. People can track us, people can send us location, we can book the airline, hotel, or anything on our mobile. We can even share PowerPoint presentations or learning videos through the mobile applications. So the IT potential has been tapped by the National TB Elimination Program, where they created a digital surveillance system called Nikshay. It has been created in collaboration with the National Center of Informatics. SHAI means tuberculosis, and NICA has contributed. That's why Nikshay. TB patient details with related comorbidity, including HIV and the program management information. So all this basically goes into the system, and then we have typical data. We have auto-generated reports and also the dashboard, which indicate which indicator a certain health facility or TB unit or a district is improving upon, or is there any kind of deterioration that has happened due to any particular reason. Those graphs and the dashboard also act as a visual representation on which the medical officer as well as the program managers can act upon. And at the national level also, the policymakers can look at it and look at the progress that has been made in your state-wise as well as district-wise. To have a healthy competition program also created something called state and the district TB score. Although we are issuing the state TB score details to the states, the states have also started on their own preparing the district TB score. That helps them in understanding which indicator we are lagging behind and where we have to catch up or improve upon. If they are performing good in a particular indicator, they can focus their energy in improving the rest of the indicators that might be lagging behind. So it's again one big advantage of having a digital platform with visual representation of the data and the dashboards. So similarly, Soch is now it's in infancy, but it has been conceptualized in a very meticulous manner. It has lots of potential, especially in terms of the data, its user in day-to-day activity, and then giving some kind of insight to the researchers, to the policymakers, to the program managers, and also improve the quality of the service that is being provided to the different beneficiaries under NACP. So that Soch will be capturing all the PLHIV and other beneficiary detail. When I am seeing other beneficiaries, it can be the high-risk population, the core group, the bridge population. It can be the mother who is seeking the service in a particular health facility and is being tested under EMTCT. Or it can be any other beneficiary. So whatever information we will be gathering and putting in the hard copy, ultimately that needs to go into the Soch system so that it would start acting upon that information. We are also currently working on HIV-TB dashboard apart from the other dashboards, and the integration of Nikshay and Soch is also undergoing. So it means that if I'm a medical officer in the ART center and I have a 4S positive PLHIV who is symptomatic, having cough. So I am sending the patient for the CBNAT, and then the CBNAT information will be directly coming from the Nikshay portal to the SOCH, so that the information sharing is faster, and we can act upon that information by starting the anti-TB treatment for the patients if the results are positive for Mycobacterium tuberculosis. So that would be one of the advantage. And again, as I said, that the reports and the dashboard, our key staff which are involving in providing the n number of services to the PLHIV in ART centers, in linked ART center, FIRT centers, they will be saving a lot of time and energy in preparation of the report. Today also, if we ask somebody that please calculate the number of the PLHIV that have been screened for tuberculosis or for any other opportunistic infection, it's a tedious exercise. And that time can be shortened, and it can be utilized in improving the quality of the care. Paper-based system, as I said, that it will be the decision of the program, which is the right time to switch over to the complete digital platform. Of course, there will be certain kind of feedback from the states and certain centers, and monitoring visits that would give an insight that now the ground is really ready for the shifting. But till that time, we will be required to continue with the dual system. That is, we will be maintaining the hard copy of the records, and parallelly we will start digitalizing the records so that the patients can be monitored in the prospective period. So coming back to our basic HIV-TB collaborative activity, as I said, that the recording and the reporting formats have been modified. So the HIV-related information, the program is capturing here the HIV status, the ART and the CPT linkage, and the date and the ART number. And if we go to the backside, the anti-TB treatment related details are mentioned, where we are giving the fixed doses combination to the TB patients, whether it is PLHIV or non-PLHIV, and these medicines are based on the particular weight band. And we also have to monitor the weight of the patient and the response to the anti-TB treatment, and any side effects if they exist. And same are being noted in the treatment card. The same card has now gone into the Nikshay, where the particular detail captured in the hard copy, it can be entered into the digital system. So we know that it is a integrated ICT system. It's a unified interface. The TB program has a mandatory TB notification clause. So it captures the information of the public and the private patients. The patients are also segregated into different typologies like DS, drug susceptible TB, drug resistant tuberculosis, pulmonary, extrapulmonary. If it's extrapulmonary, which is the organ that has been primarily involved. And at the same time, there has been PHI level users created for all the people who are directly involved in the patient care. Dashboards and reports are already existing, and a mobile friendly website with the mobile app. So mobile app also gives an opportunity for many of our laboratory technicians and STS, STLS to just enter the details whenever they are in touch with the patient, either in the healthcare setting or they are on the field visit to the patient. So if you can see on the left side, there is a viewing patient in the various stages. Now it's very important that each TB patient or each PLHIV is monitored for the complete cascade of the care, because when we look at our data, there is a cascade care loss. Patient, sometimes we want to diagnose the patient and the patient has not gone to the diagnostic facility. We did not call the patient, so we miss the TB patient or potential TB patient. And similarly, the linkage with the treatment. And now with the TB preventive therapy coming into the picture, it's also becomes very important that the complete cascade of care in terms of segregation of the PLHIV into TB and non-TB happens. And we are able to link to the either anti-TB treatment or TB preventive therapy. So TB program usually looks for what is the number of the patients that the test is pending. So there will be a list that is generated. TB not confirmed, diagnosed TB patients, TB treatment not started. It's a program's responsibility. If you are not starting the treatment, we should not say that the patient did not turn up. we have to make certain attempts so that our counseling skills or persuasion skills make the person realize that taking the treatment on time is very crucial, and early initiation of the treatment. Research studies have already shown that early detection of HIV or early detection of tuberculosis can help in early improvement and prevention of the infection in the community. And then finally, the outcomes assigned. So the Central TB Division and the National AIDS Control Program has communicated to all the states as well as the ART centers that there has to be a same login ID that should be used for the health facility. It means that if there is a medical college, there is a culture DST lab under a TB program, and then there is a ART center. So three facilities in the same institute should not use different login IDs and passwords. So it means that only single login ID and password should be used. And the ART center mapping needs to be updated in the Nikshay portal, so that when we are linking it with the SOCH, the two portals can easily talk to each other. If there are three facilities which are, for example, we have PGIMS Rohtak, and then we have the complete name of the college, and then Rohtak PGI. So we will not be understand, the system will not understand to which institute I should link these patients, especially when they are coming from the SOCH side. So the unique representation of a health facility is very, very crucial when we are thinking in terms of integration. So how is the information and the data flow? Information, we come across a lot of information. Most of it is raw information, and it doesn't give us any kind of action points. So a process information is basically your data. And data, when you apply certain kind of techniques like conditional formatting or prepare charts or graphs, you can clearly see the trend and understand that where the more efforts needs to be put. And if there is a improvement as compared with the past, we definitely need to appreciate that also. Many times we are so much enthusiastic with finding the faults that we do not appreciate that, okay, the things are improving. But then we also have to find what will be the innovative way, or what are the more different ways that the certain intervention can be improved on ground. There can be implementation challenges, there can be logistic challenges, there can be a number of challenges. We know that it is not easy to work with the public, with the program officer, and considering that we have limited number of ART facilities. So it's important that we try to identify what is the exact challenge in terms of the service delivery and how can we resolve it in a joint fashion, either through help of the district officials or state officials, and the last resort with the support of NACO. So we have beneficiary history, clinical findings, service provision, available infrastructure and logistic details. Most of the time it remains either in the form of the case history form or the laboratory report that is existing there, or some of our stock register or the inventory register. Now, then comes the point where we are talking about the individual patient records. This would be the next thing, where we are clubbing the diagnostic and the treatment details along with saying that this is the particular patient that is availing so-and-so services from our institute. Program information. So we do have the analyzed reports in the form of Excel sheets or Word documents that we keep. We have the list of our staff, their designation, their phone numbers. And then comes the next step, where these records needs to be digitalized so that the digital records exist in the different modules of the SOCH. And then this information sharing through SOCH to the linked health facility. If tomorrow the district TB officer of Ladakh, one district of Ladakh wants to know who is the district TB officer in Hyderabad, so he need not really go through all the trouble of calling different people and waste the precious time in knowing who is the officer there. But he can just log in on the Nikshay portal and check that there is already a directory uploaded, not only for the state TB officers, but also for the district TB officers. It makes our life easier and saves a lot of time, which can be utilized. Then the topmost layer that comes is the automated report and the dashboards. Now, what I have not included here is the use of the artificial intelligence. Whatever are the reports that are generated, or whatever are the dashboards created. Now, there are also a thought of using the artificial intelligence to know that based on the available information of individual patient data, which are the patients that are likely to die, or to have a more unfavorable outcome, or they can discontinue the treatment based on the pattern. Basically, artificial intelligence tries to establish a pattern based on or the probability based on the available information we feed into the model. So that is also an upcoming thing that would help in a big way. Already the central government has a digital health blueprint document published and circulated to all the ministries. And it is taken on a very serious note that the data should not remain in silos, but it should be integrated and it should be utilized using the latest technology that is available on ground. So what are the advantage and the disadvantage? I have covered most of the advantage and disadvantage, but quickly I will run through it. Conventionally, we are using the paper-based recording and the reporting system. It is easy to handle. We are habituated to it, and it is not dependent on any device or tablet or computer. Of course, it occupies a large space. If you go to the old municipal corporation or the medical record section of many of the hospitals, they have a special dedicated space for it, where all the files and patient records are kept. So that also occupies space, and which otherwise would have been used for the sitting of the patients or the staff or for some other purpose. Difficult to track the individual record if volume is high. If I have 1,000 patients files and I have to find Manish or Suresh, then unless I have a very systematically organized or labeled them, I won't be able to find that. So the digital platform usually does that for you, allocating a unique ID, and then the ID or multiple IDs can help you in tracking of that individual. Incomplete record not known to a higher facility. That is again something which I would like to highlight, that ICTC did not update the HIV testing record in their system. So and the patient lost the test report, and now they are finding it difficult to enter the details of the ICTC test result or the particular date on which the test was done. Fear or theft of damage. Analysis and feedback are difficult and often delayed considering data validation issues and volume. If you have it in Excel, you can sit with the computer and try to find where are the data anomalies. But looking it into the hard copy, at times it's very challenging. Electronic health record will be exactly opposite, which is a preferred recording and reporting. Globally also, there are states which have completely shifted to the digital records, especially the European countries. And it has helped them in a big way in managing the public health scenario. Because the records are linked, the services are provided are also available in the digital platform. So they know what is the contraindication for this patient, what is the comorbidity, which drug can be used, are there any kind of existing allergy. All those details currently we are dependent on the paper-based or the patient information. Of course, it needs significant investment. You need to have the devices, computers, internet connections, and also the servers to capture all those information that finally gets saved into it, and the technical know-how to run the show. Needs periodic check and inbuilt validation. If I have created a portal and I have not put any kind of validation into it, then also I can create error. Where if, for example, if there are no validation in the number of the PLHIV started on TB preventive therapy, the numerator exceeding denominator, and then it is giving a wrong information, which cannot happen. So that is why checks and balances are also important. Backup is easily possible, especially in terms of electronic health record, because system starts saving it in the back end, and the data, there are also provision of keeping it on a cloud or on a dedicated server. provide huge volume of information in seconds or minutes. Of course, the provision of the dashboard makes it much faster and easier, dependent on the gadgets. IT tools like AI are also dependent on electronic records. Dashboard to understand the epidemic trend. Nowadays, everybody asks that how much is the decline in a particular indicator, or how much is the increase? Are we really moving where we have to move? So that's where the dashboard can be very, very important. An interactive dashboard, if you look at the global study on disease burden, GBD study, they have a very fantastic dashboard where you can go like country-wise, state-wise, and try to see which are the diseases that have changed over a period of time from 1995 to 2016 and or to the current period. Risk of cybercrime and information leak is a threat that can be well handled if we know the basics of cyber security. So that is where the NACO has come into picture, and they have also created something called data management guideline. I would request all of you that if you have not read it so far, please go to the NACO's website and you can download that document. It is currently in the draft stage, but it gives an ample amount of information that we can utilize in our day-to-day activity. So HIV TB 4-pronged strategy. We have prevention, early detection of TB HIV. We have prompt treatment of TB HIV and management of the special TB HIV cases. Now, when I'm saying prevention, first I need to identify whether the PLHIV is suffering from TB or is actually having the active TB disease. And that is why I do the 4-symptom screening on the first point of contact to rule out active tuberculosis, because IPT will be contraindicated if the patient is having tuberculosis. Airborne infection controls, there are ART centers which do a fantastic fast tracking, and there are open spaces to sit for the patients, and there are administrative and other measures taken like provision of the mask to the patients as well as to the healthcare worker, UVGA light, and many other things. Awareness generation, of course, if people know that how they can get the TB infection or HIV infection, they can prevent themselves. PITC, provider initiated testing and counseling. We have already achieved almost 80% for the TB patient. But when we look at the PITC in presumptive TB cases, it is only 52% for the last year. So it means there is still a scope for improvement. Now, I'm speaking this because I have looked into the data. Now, this data, if we are using it, we know that these are the states. We have an NXRM in the Excel form, which all the microscopy center compiles. If we just take a printout and look at how much is our microscopy center testing for the HIV. As I said, that early detection of HIV is going to help you in not only in HIV elimination, but also prevention of tuberculosis, because TB is the commonest opportunistic infection. Then early start of ART, and then TB treatment. And then there can be issues where we will not go for the fixed doses combination because the patient is already having a resistance to rifampicin or other drugs. So it would be linked to the drug resistant TB ward, either at the district or at the medical college level. And then there can be patients in the pediatric age group or pregnant women who would need special consideration, especially considering the typical side effects of particular drugs. So the ART center provides a lot of services to the PLHIV. HIV TB services are broadly the 4-symptom screening, anti-TB treatment, TB preventive therapy, CPT and ART provision, and also the diagnostic algorithm and required linkage, as I said, for the DRTB center or for any de-addiction center or any NCD clinic if patient is hypertensive or requires any element under consideration. So CBNAT is the upfront molecular diagnostics. So we collect the data of CBNAT. We also collect the utilization of the drugs, especially the daily regimen that is being provided, so that there are no stockouts. The information of the daily FDC. Of course, if I don't know how many ART centers have used how much amount of the FDC, I will not be able to help the NACO or Central TB division in providing that much amount of drugs to the state, and then the shortage can happen. And that is why the supply chain management, a digitalized supply chain management, which is well monitored, can help in the long run. ICT-based adherence support, and then pharmacovigilance is an area where we can look at TB preventive therapy and airborne infection control measures. So I need not really go into the much of the details because you all are implementing these activities on a day-to-day basis. So we have care coordinator, we have counselor, we have nurse, SMO, MO, and then a laboratory technician, and then the our beneficiaries, that is PLHIV, who has come with a great expectations, and we provide all these services to them. If the patient is having any of the sign or symptom of tuberculosis, like in the form of cough, fever, night sweat, or weight loss, the counselors is usually bypass, and the nurse collects the details of the patients and then sends the patient to the SMO medical officer. So Green Book and 4 symptom screening information, we have a very meticulous recording system in our hard copy, where during each visit of the PLHIV, we are capturing the information of 4 symptoms and marking it in the Green Book. And that actually determines our course of action. So the care coordinator, after marking that, would forward the 4S positive patient to the staff nurse. She will again screen for the 4 symptoms and using the detailed stamp. And the counselor will validate the 4S status. And then subsequently, if there are no symptoms found, the counselor will place a large cross on the detail 4S stamp. It means that this PLHIV is not having any sign or symptom of tuberculosis. So our investigation algorithm has stopped here. But of course, we will be continuing the 4S screening in the subsequent visits, because tuberculosis is an infection which can happen at any point of time. Especially a normal person without HIV infection has 10% risk, but the PLHIV has 60 to 65% risk of development of tuberculosis. And that is something we need to be careful about. And we have to screen on every visit to the ART center. And now we know that a particular PLHIV is 4S positive. So our battery of investigation will start. We will ask for the CBNAT test. We'll refer for the CBNAT, and whatever are the results, we'll maintain the HIV-TB line list. And then the digitization of the line list will happen. The data manager is the person who is usually involved in it. What are the existing challenges? So again, the challenges which I'm writing here are based on the data only. Currently, we do not have all the ART centers with the CBNAT machine. Of course, there is a plan to saturate all the ART centers so that the patient need not travel and patient need not be lost during the particular diagnostic investigation of tuberculosis. So the information can be used in not only for the program or indicator monitoring, but also for improving the access to the care. In high load CBNAT setting, patients are being sent back to the native district for testing. This is again a field finding. So if the patient has been sent back to a native district, they may not really get tested. They might not feel the need, or they might not be followed up for the particular test. So no information about patient's test result available to the ART site unless patient carries report and provides to ART site. Currently, this is being done physically or through the electronic format in the form of email. Delayed TB treatment initiation, it would lead to, and then there is also a possibility of linkage loss for tuberculosis diagnosis. How do we avoid this? So there are possible solutions which I have mentioned here, that the TB diagnostic service expansion in the ART setting. So there is already a policy decision that has been taken that all the ART centers would be having either CBNAT or TrueNAT available in the same premises, And also if there are requirement, we can flag it to the central TB division so that we go for the saturation of all the ART centers with molecular diagnostics. We know that smear microscopy is going to miss 50% of the tuberculosis cases, and that is why we are going for the first line of investigation with nucleic acid amplification test. Decentralize ART through new ART centers. The government of India has already taken a decision and has issued a gazette notification that all medical colleges should have ART center as well as the DRTB center. We are also working on that. Soon, I guess the state would be getting that communication. Monitoring the linkage loss for diagnosis using digital platform. This is again a solution where we know that a particular patient has been referred from the ART center to the TB diagnostic lab. And then we don't have the whereabouts of the patient, neither we have the test results. Data entry into the source to digitalize the beneficiary records can be a solution where if we are digitalizing the records, we can track them further. And again, one of the most important aspect of the digital platform is the integration with the other portal that is currently undergoing. So it will allow the testing result sharing and also the ART CPT and other information, so that the TB program as well as the National AIDS Control Program are on the same level of understanding in terms of data, and can provide all the necessary support to the most important person, that is our PLHIV or the beneficiary under the program. So SOCH is an acronym for Strengthening Overall Care for the HIV Beneficiaries. The trainings are being conducted for all the states. There were representatives from the states who have been already trained as a master trainer, and then an agency is helping in those training rollout. Some of you might have been trained also. So it's an ambitious initiative under being monitored closely by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Every 15 days, we have a kind of internal meeting to understand what is the progress. And at a very faster pace, we are going ahead with the SOCH development and its implementation rollout in the states. So all the previous fragmented reporting systems now have come to a single platform, that is SOCH. It would be linking all service delivery to an individual beneficiary. For example, there is a patient called Padma. Now Padma was pregnant, so the PPTCT center collected her detail. Then Padma went to the ART center, so ART center collected her detail. And then whatever drugs were issued were collected from the ART center, and it was going into the IMS SOCH. So it's important that one patient and all the service delivery should be linked together. Like what we have done with the Aadhaar. We have linked so many things with the Aadhaar, our telephone number or our IT returns or our bank account details. And a unique ID helps in keeping all the information in a integrated fashion. Integration underway. So the SOCH will be integrating with Nikshay and Nikshay Aushadhi. It would also provide an opportunity for the real-time surveillance, hotspot identification, and granular data for the evidence-based planning. Nowadays, the focus is not that the country should plan or state should plan. We are saying district should plan their own action plan, and they should know which are the blocks or which are the areas that needs much attention. For example, a particular area might be having a high HIV/TB co-infection rates, or high intravenous drug users, or any another kind of factor that is driving the HIV epidemic. So it all that I am saying is based on the data, and the more and more data we capture, it is going to refine our response to the particular geography for that HIV epidemic. Program and performance monitoring can be easily done, because we will be focusing more on the quality of implementation and the data entry, and the data generated in the form of ready reports can be utilized for monitoring. Reports and dashboards, of course, we discussed before. So when we are coming to the NACP's records in the SOCH, especially with focus on the ART setting, there have been different users that have been created. Users includes all those who are involved in the care. I have just shown you that diagram where we are performing different set of activities, starting all the way from the care coordinators up to the pharmacist who is dispensing the medicine. तो हर किसी को एक लॉगिन आईडी और पासवर्ड अवेलेबल होगा ताकि वो अपना पर्टिकुलर जो भी हम काम कर रहे हैं, जो भी PLHIV हमारे पास आ रहा है, उसकी सारी डिटेल हम उसमें एंटर कर सकें. So the clinical evaluation, lab test, prescription, treatment decision, basically patient management is with the doctor, no doubt about it. Care coordinator will be the first point of contact in terms of beneficiary identification, whether to accept the beneficiary or to add the beneficiaries. Now here is a word of caution that we have to move as a team. It means ICTC and the ART center need not be seen as a fragmented facilities. If the ICTC has not entered the details of the PLHIV or the HIV testing results, then it would not be available to the ART center. And that is where the coordination meetings and issues needs to be resolved by the monthly meeting. Otherwise, what will happen that the ICTC is detecting the PLHIV, referring them also as per the protocol, but then the details have not been entered into the SOCH. So the care coordinator and rest of the teams at the ART center will keep on starting all the way from the name of the beneficiaries. If they have ICTC has entered these details, you will not be required to add those details again. So it means that whichever is the health facility, they have to do their own work, do the particular recording and reporting in a digitalized form so that it is available for subsequent cascade of care. Otherwise, the load will keep on accumulating and quality of services will get affected. Review beneficiary list. So whenever a PLHIV has been diagnosed in the ICTC and has been sent to the ART center, there will be a beneficiary list which will be visible to you if it has been the results have been entered and the patient has been referred to you through that concerned ART center. So the care coordinator can quickly look through the beneficiary list, and then if the person is standing next to him, he can fill the remaining details or link the ART counselor or staff nurse. So counseling details would be field for symptom screening, height, weight, adherence. All these parameters are also contributing in knowing the status of the patient. We know that if there is a malnutrition or any another comorbidity, that is also going to affect the outcome of the treatment that we are providing. Data manager is a beneficiary record management. Basically, the data manager will be the primary user. So data manager can generate the login ID and password for anyone who is working in the same facility. For example, there are 2 staff nurses and only one ID has been generated. So he will be having the option of generating the person who can do the entry into the SOCH. And if there is somebody who has left the particular health facility, they can be omitted from the access to the SOCH. Laboratory technicians are again an important person involved in the sample collection for CD4 and the viral load testing, apart from the other activities like record updation and sample dispatch. And it is important considering our third 90, that is maintaining the PLHIV on a immunosuppression. Pharmacist, primary user can add and activate more user and drug dispensing and sorry, it was not data manager, it was pharmacist. So drug dispensing and supply chain management. So it means that apart from providing the drugs to the PLHIV, whatever are the drugs that are being received from SACS or from the National TB Elimination Program, or from if the district has done the local purchasing, all those details can be entered and the supply chain management records can be digitalized. If the SACS has sent some particular amount of the drugs to the ART center, which drug, what is the quantity, what is the batch number, what is the expiry date, all those details will go into the system and receipt will be generated electronically. There will also be provision of the barcode in the future so that a lot of digital manual entries can be prevented, and it will also save a lot of time. So coming to the SOCH online portal at the counselor level. Now, if you can see on the screen, I have all the team members here, that is care coordinator, counselor, medical officer, staff nurse, pharmacist, and lab technician. So this bar will be common to all of you, so that you know that which person has how many beneficiaries at hand and how many have been already been supported in that particular service provision. So 0 indicate that no, there is no one in the queue. So at present, the care coordinator doesn't have anybody pending in the queue. The queue is generated once the ICTC has sent a certain number of beneficiaries or the care coordinator has entered the details. The one on the right is indicating beneficiary already attended at a particular level, that is at counselor level. If you can see here that it is on the right side, so it will be shown as green. Then one on the left, basically you can divide each section into left and right. If it is on the left, it means the person is waiting. If it is on the right, it means the person has been provided with that service. Our effort should be that we expedite the process of providing our services without compromising the quality of the care. So whosoever are coming to our centers in a systematic fashion, they will go from one person to the another, and then either will get counsel or will get their particular regimen prescription, or will get the particular medicines. Now, if I have to search for a particular person, I can use the UID, which is generated into the system. I can use the name, I can use the pre-ART number and ART number, and this section is usually hidden. You have to click on the filter and this section will open up. So currently it's saying that there are no beneficiaries which are here. Supply chain management using SOCH. Under single window service policy, we all know that ART center screens all the PLHIV for 4 symptoms. And then presumptive TB patients are referred to the TB diagnostic facility for TB test. This is a point where NICSHA and SOCH integration will be done for transferring of the results on a real-time basis. NICSHA captures the information and would feed the information back to the SOCH, so that ART center will be having the records available into their SOCH system. HIV TB co-infected patients, provision of the anti-TB treatment apart from ART and CPT, that would be a decision on the part of ART center. 4 symptom negative PLHIV, IPT provision for 6 months. And then the NTP provides drug related anti-TB and INH preventive therapy. So this is a juncture where NICSHA Aushadhi portal and SOCH will undergo integration. So there are various levels on which the integration is going to happen, and it will cover ICTC, it will cover ART center. We are also exploring the possibility of putting something related with the targeted intervention, prison and other closed setting, so that those referrals are also reflected into the NICSHA. Coming to our inventory management system as our last point, this was the communication that was issued to all the project directors states. It has major 2 decisions, out of which one I had already mentioned, that we have to transition from the current login to PHI level login in the NICSHA at the ART center. And then the entry of the anti-TB drugs and IPT drugs into the integrated management system, that is IMS SOCH. Many a times when we are sitting in the program reviews, the state officials or district officials say, we were not having INH, we are not having pyridoxine. So it's a vicious circle. We were not having the drugs, we did not initiate. And then we did not initiate because we were not having the actual details of the drug consumption pattern. And that is where I would like to say that if we utilize the SOCH on a day-to-day basis, we will be able to see the consumption pattern, the utilization pattern, the stock at hand, and again understand the requirement of each individual ART center in your states, and support you wholeheartedly in by providing you those drugs. What happens that if we are issuing the drugs and that are not wanted by the state or a particular ART center, then they have to be shifted to some other place, which is again not a very good practice. Second thing, if the records are not available, there is always a dilemma whether we should go ahead or provide or not. Sometimes drugs are overstocked in some facilities, which leads to expiry. Today, I cannot say which are the ART center where the IPT drugs or anti-TB drugs have expired, because there is no digitalized record of this system. And that is where we have to play a very crucial role. We all can work together, first learn the basics of the SOCH and start entering into the SOCH, the provision of the ARV, ART, and other drugs like TB preventive therapy. And once this integration happens, what will happen? That whatever drugs you have utilized, that drug consumption pattern will directly go to the central TB division, and they would be in a position to decide how much should be the drug allocation to the particular states or district. And again, when there are some campaigns or drives, especially for the TB preventive therapy, the consumption usually shoots up, and that is a point of time when the state can communicate to the center that we are having a catch-up campaign, and then our additional requirement is so and so. But at the same time, when they reflag a requirement, the center definitely asks कि अभी आपके पास balance कितना है. So ये बहुत ज़रूरी है that we should dispense the drug using the dispensation module of SOCH to all the PLHIVs, so that our data get digitalized. Another advantage which I am telling you is about कि अगर आप ये activity करते हैं तो उससे क्या होगा, आपको PLHIV के TB preventive therapy के completion rates easily पता चल जाएगी. आपको जो पेशेंट्स डिसकंटिन्यू करते हैं टीबी प्रिवेंटिव थेरेपी, उनका एक रीजन एनालिसिस आपको पता चल सकेगा. कहीं ऐसा तो नहीं है कि माल नरिश्ड पेशेंट्स को साइड इफेक्ट ज्यादा थे इसीलिए उन्होंने डिसकंटिन्यू कर दिया. कहीं ये तो नहीं है कि पेशेंट का डेथ हो गया. सो करंटली सिटिंग एट अ नेशनल और स्टेट लेवल nobody knows that which are the patient groups that have a very good completion rates, or what are the factors that are actually leading to lower completion rates for TB preventive therapy. And similarly, these patients, after what time period they will develop tuberculosis, that can also be monitored, considering we have a unique ID for this beneficiary. So at national level, we have added all these drugs which are provided under the TB program as a first line drugs, and also through the ART centers, because the ART center is dispensing only the first line drugs and also the TB preventive therapy drugs. So this has been added. So if you are receiving the drugs from the TB program or from the SACs, you will be required to add those drugs, and then it will be visible to you whenever you are dispensing the drugs. Touching a little bit upon that, the pharmacist has to dispense the ARV and the TB drugs to the end beneficiaries. On the right side is showing you that the patient name. It's an old interface which I have shown here, but I would come to the another thing about the how do we really learn the portal SOCH apart from the training that is being imparted. So the next appointment date is given to the beneficiary for visiting the facility. So यहाँ आप देख सकते हैं डेट ऑफ रजिस्ट्रेशन आ गया, डेट ऑफ स्टार्ट ऑफ ART आ गया, डेट ऑफ लास्ट ART डिस्पेंसेशन आ गया, पेशेंट की डिटेल आ गई, and then we go further, then the drugs that are available, what is the available quantity at hand, what are the expired drugs, and then the complete receiving from unregistered source. Now here, please note down that when you are receiving the drugs from the TB program, you will be putting it in the unregistered option, because currently the integration has not happened. That's why we have not kept it as a TB program. Or if there is any local procurement, it should be shown as unregistered option. Otherwise, we have kept all the other options like CMSs, the district drugstore of SACs, and most of the time it has been observed that the drugs are directly delivered from the state to the ART center rather than going through the district TB center. So if you're receiving from the TB program, you can enter it through an unregistered option. So you can receiver from supplier, receive from SACs, receive from regional warehouse, receive from facility. And if you do not have the dispatch details, you can mention that also. So that can be entered. Receive from unregistered source, as what I was thinking, telling you. TB unit, district unit, then address, Tamil Nadu, and then PIN code. So you can proceed with the unregistered source. Of course, the interface would look a little bit different in the current form in Soch. Complete receiving from unregistered source. आपने जैसे अभी rifampicin का यहाँ डिटेल डाल दिया होगा, rifabutin का डाल दिया होगा. So then you can complete the receiving. So it will show that the 10,000 quantity was received. There were 2,000 that were damaged. So even if they are damaged, we are entering so that the information is available to everyone. Stock damage. So receipt will show all the drugs that have whatever was in fine condition is also mentioned. And then dispensing of the TB drugs through so I would like you to focus on this add new patient. It means the pharmacist can also add the patient. Transit or PEP dispensation. There are times when post-exposure prophylaxis drugs have to be provided to any clinician or healthcare worker. So we also have kept the option of it. If you are referring the patient to any another district ART center, so you can also give the medicine in the transit period. Return from the patient and today's dispensation. अगर एक दिन में आपने जिन PLHIV को ड्रग्स दिए होंगे उसकी सारी लिस्ट यहाँ से आपको मिल सकेगी. Now here, if I look at the test name, there is 39-year-old person, and then last visit date and next appointment date, and what is the product that has been dispensed? It is TLE. So how many pills were remaining? Were 56, and then adherence was 100%. So this is something which history can be elicited by the pharmacist, and then the subsequent drugs can be provided to the beneficiary. So once we start this process, it tells you the product, the available quantity, adherence, remaining pills, and dispensation. These details needs to be filled manually. And then the next appointment date. If you want to call the PLHIV after 14 days, we can say 14 days, 30 days. In the beginning, we may call them earlier to understand if there are any particular side effects of the ARV or AKT. And then the multi-month dispensation can happen as communicated for the stable patients by the NACO. Now, sometimes the patient may come or the patient's relative may come. So here we have given an option of patient and proxy. So, so if the patient is not in a condition to come to a particular ART center and some relative or close friend has come, then also the medicine can be dispensed. Noting down the details. Now, there is a lot of work which is currently undergoing for provision of the reports as well as the dashboards. It means that once we will be shifting completely to the digital platform, it will take some time, but these reports, once they are ready, it can be used at the local level. So expected beneficiary report, LFU report, beneficiaries who have missed appointment, dispensation summary, the regimen summary, MPR report, cohort report. In terms of inventory, facility data inventory, facility stock adjustment report, facility stock expiry report, facility stock ledger, and then stock out of the drugs. We should try that the stock out or the expiry of the drugs is prevented. Facility dispatch report and then facility receipt report. If you are giving the drugs to any another health facility, same can be put in the dispatch section and it will be evident here. But whenever you are issuing any drugs to the another ART center, it has to be approved by the SACs. Without that, it will not be processed. And approval comes, then we can proceed ahead. Similarly, if I'm receiving the drugs, I would be getting the receipts, and all the receipts will be available in the form of an Excel sheet generated through the Soch. Coming back to the data confidentiality, I think we all have been working for quite a long period, and we do understand that HIV as well as the TB is related with stigma, discrimination, and the patient has a faith in us. That's why they are with us. So we need to maintain the strict confidentiality. There is already an National HIV/AIDS Act of 2017 talking about the confidentiality and shared confidentiality. There are standard operating procedure for the data use, which I had just mentioned in my opening remark, that the data management policy can be read and understood so that we don't land up in trouble. And whenever you will be opening the Soch, the left-sided confidentiality pop-up will appear, where it is saying that I declare that the data I am provided access to or authorized by NACO has not been breached by me, and I have maintained the confidentiality in the past month. I shall comply with all the provisions of the Act and data management guideline. So if you don't click on the agree, the portal will not process further. So every time you have to agree and act in accordance to this two important documents. Of course, the few important things in our day-to-day activity is avoiding sharing login ID and password to others. Log out once work is finished. If you keep logged in or the password is saved, anybody working on your computer can extract the information. Inform supervisor if you are thinking that the information has been leaked or somebody has downloaded the data and taken it away, or somebody has taken the computer or the pen drive. Periodically change the password. This is again a smart way of maintaining the cyber security, that password should not be simple. It should not be date of birth or 11111, something like that. It should be ideally a combination of alphanumeric numbers along with some kind of symbol. Avoid saving the data files on the desktop or the pen drive from where they can be easily taken away. And never save password, especially if the system is used by non-program personnel. It happens sometimes in district hospital setting where there are FIRTs. Somebody might have come to take a printout or some other purpose. And there is a very high chance that they find that report interesting, and they may just transfer it into their pen drive or just email themselves. So we have to be very careful that we do not download the data unnecessarily. And if we are downloading, we have to keep it password protected so that it is used only for the program purpose and for the patient purpose. It should not be provided to anybody unless the necessary approvals have been received from the framework that has been provided under the data management guideline. So I have also provided the link here, and you can also download it directly from the website of NACO. And talking a bit about the integration, of course, integration, we are in quite late stages of development, especially with the ICTC module. A little bit work needs to go on the dashboards and other options. So facility needs to be uniquely represented. I think at that I have touched upon. The names of the facility should be more or less same. Now, recently, Government of India has also said that each health facility should be provided with something called NIN number. That is National Identification Number. So it means that we need not say that DH Saharanpur or District Hospital Saharanpur, but its complete name, administrative name should be noted into the system. Acronyms are not preferred, and they can create a problem with the integration. Data completeness, of course, if the data is incomplete, the Nikshay will not be helping, neither Soch will be helping. So we have to complete the data so that the information loops are completed and the sharing happens between the two portals. I had cited the example of ICTC. If ICTC doesn't enter the HIV testing result, ART center will be required to enter all the details, and it can result in delay in patient service and extra load in terms of data entry. Non-updation of beneficiary record in ART center, incomplete information to Nikshay. If I have not provided the details of the 4-symptom screening and or the TB patient's TB symptom referral, then the Nikshay will not know which patient has gone into the system, and they will be unable to track the patient or link the result to the particular individual. For example, Suresh is a PLHIV in the ART setting, and the complete beneficiary data has not been entered. So we send the Suresh to the CBNet site, and Suresh goes and says that उन लोगों ने मेरी information आपको भेज दी होगी portal पे, but अगर हमने यहाँ से information complete करके नहीं भेजी होगी, then even they will be struggling with filling those particular details, or they will start from the scratch. Integration, I would say that it will reduce the linkage loss and will help in better monitoring between the two facilities. It will help in understanding the patient-related factors that influence the treatment outcome. Data-driven decision will be easier, and it will be making for focused intervention. real-time information to benefit patient, test results and SMS for consultation. The NACO is also exploring the possibility of telemedicine, and these all new digital interventions can only chip in when we have digitalized record, which are complete, correct, and consistent. It will reduce time and energy spent in the report preparation. So that time can be utilized for the other program activities. And there will be auto-populated reports and dashboards. Coming to the last slide, expectations. Of course, we all need to get trained into the SOCH. A recent development in this regard is NACO is planning to go for a learning management system where there will be videos. Any person, including laboratory technician or clinician, can enroll themselves and complete those courses. Those are courses like 3 minutes and 5 minutes clip. And if you are completing any particular module, you will also be getting a certificate, digital certificate from the system. So that work is currently in progress. They have prepared few modules in the English, and there is also a plan to have these modules in Hindi, so that whosoever is not comfortable with English will know what is mentioned in the particular video module. It is a self-paced. It means I can log in. मैं कभी भी कंप्यूटर पे या अपने मोबाइल पे लॉगिन करके वो मॉड्यूल को समझ सकता हूँ, और उसके बाद में जैसे कंप्लीट हो जाएगा, then I can switch to another module. So it's a self-paced. Understanding the different sections and information needs. जैसे मैंने आपको बताया that in the ERT itself they have all the staff members different section. There are certain information that are restricted for entry at a particular level. Completion of the hard copy records will help you in ease of digitalization. So we have to start entering of the new beneficiaries on a real-time basis. There will be few of the previous beneficiaries which have been migrated from the previous version of the portal, and then you can track them prospectively. Communicating any challenges identified. Naya portal hai, there will be a lot of hiccups or issues like IT glitches. There can be login issues. So we are also in the pipeline of preparing frequently asked questions. So that would also be circulated to help you out. Dispensation module. If we are regularly using the dispensation module, it will help in preventing stock out and drug expiry, as I said earlier. Data should be correct, complete, and consistent. Data security measures we have already covered. Use of available information for the patient-centric care. If we know that a certain patient, the liver enzymes are elevated, we should be very careful in designing the particular regimen for that patient. Maybe we need to have certain kind of opinion of the expert if required. Similarly, some of the patients, they might have kidney damage or some kind of allergy or any factor that is not allowing us to go ahead with the standard plan which is applicable for many of the beneficiaries. Data-driven action will definitely help in the program improvement. So whatever information we are generating, we have to periodically cross-check it. कभी कभी हो जाता है कि मैंने 10 का एंट्री करना होगा और मैंने 100 या 1000 का एंट्री कर लिया और सिस्टम ले भी लेता है. So in that situation, we always have the option of editing the patient details, and we should utilize that option. There is also option of deleting the patient, but whenever we are deleting, it will definitely ask that why a particular patient has been deleted. Even if you delete the patient, that information is going to remain in the backend into the system, so that if required, it can be retrieved. So for the frequently asked question, I have already communicated to you. If there are any questions or queries related with the IT platform, it can be communicated to the helpdesk@naco.gov.in. There is a WhatsApp number and also a phone number which is mentioned, and you can utilize this number for any troubleshooting that is needed. We are getting a lot of queries at the national level, but it's good that the problem comes when we start using the system. अगर हम अभी 15-20 दिनों में या 1 महीनों में ये सारे प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर लेते हैं, सो हमें आगे दिक्कत नहीं आएगी. सो वी शुड बी ट्राइंग अवर लेवल बेस्ट टू यूज दिस पोर्टल, कंप्लीट द इंफॉर्मेशन, and then if there are any challenges, we can flag it to the help desk and get it resolved. Because as I said that HIV TB collaborative activity has dependent on too much of teamwork. And similarly, the rollout of the SOCH as well as the SOCH and Niksha integration is also demanding that we work in the team and focus on the quality of the data that will act as a base for all the actions that we are doing on a day-to-day basis. So thank you for the patient listening. If there are any kind of comments, query, or any suggestions, we can discuss. Thank you.
But why you are copying this black one also?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Sandeep. Thank you so much. I understand that looking at the clock, we have gone past our time, but I also realize that this particular part is very important, and SOCH being a new platform for all of us, for all HIV colleagues, then this becomes more important to understand it more and more in depth. So I thank you, Dr. Sandeep, for such a wonderful presentation, in-depth one. And for any queries, just for the benefit of time, I request all the RT centers, they can send their queries. We are not taking up right now, but you can write to us at enishit@gmail.com, or for any IT-related queries, you can also write at helpdesk@naco.gov.in. And as Dr. Sandeep has also talked about the WhatsApp number, you can write for their assistance at 844-844-7006. So 844-844-7006. So thank you all for your patient listening. And on your screen, you must be seeing the post-test, the 2 questions, which you have seen at the starting of the session. That is, what are the benefits of electronic health records over paper-based records? So after, I think, Dr. Rathor's presentation, we all know that the first 2 options, that is, backup of data is very much possible with electronic mode, and the provision of huge volume of information in second or minutes is also available there. So the answer is only 1 and 2. And for question number 2, that is, which says which of the following options are true under data confidentiality and data management guidelines. So I think this also been very much beautifully explained, that all these options are relevant and true. That is, we should avoid sharing login ID and password, log out at once the work is finished. We should inform the supervisor as soon as we realize that there is any data theft, and we periodically must change the password as well. So just for the information, if anyone wants to join the same session, wants to know more about it from Dr. Rathor, then we have the same session running in the next week. That is on 28th of January, Thursday. You can again join the session and can have the chat and all your answers. Otherwise, you can again, as I said, write at enishit@gmail.com, and we can send these questions to the expert for immediate answering. So thank you all. Thank you for joining today's session. And thank you, sir. Thank you so much for being an expert for today. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.